Hey everybody, welcome to the Stock Car Spectacle. I'm Ian Jordan,
I'm Nick Kinsel.
and we
And
got. I,
I'm
I,
Matt
I,
Lauterbach.
yeah, well,
Sorry.
I was gonna introduce you just because you're not super regular. I know we kind of kicked you off here after you picked Chase Elliott, so
You know how
um,
many, ever since you guys released that video, I haven't been on since, and I've circled back to the comments and I've just been looking for people saying, they really actually did kick Matt off. Oh my God, they actually kicked him off.
yeah, but our good buddy Matt is back on the show, and we're gonna be talking Richmond and all the chaos that
Oh,
came with this weekend. But before we,
What chaos? Nothing happened. That was a
yeah,
boring race.
pretty
it was
vanilla
just
race. Yeah.
Regular old
daisies,
Richmond.
rainbows, sunshine.
Yep. But guys, let's kick off with our diecast of the week. Matt, you got anything for us today, buddy? I know you're a little short on diecasts.
Well, I figured this one was somewhat fitting since we're basically holding a gun at a certain person's head on tonight's show, as everyone in NASCAR should be. I found this Guns N' Roses Eric Jones 2023 legacy car from last year. So I felt this was pretty fitting. Guns N' Roses, all roses for RCR, guns pointed everywhere else at them tonight.
Yeah. We're going to Michigan. This is one that I've never played before, and it's probably the rarest diecast I have in my collection. Back in 2011, old Trevor Bayne ran this scheme at Michigan, the JDRF scheme. He ran at the August race of Michigan back in 2011. And why I say it's rare is because this thing was impossible to find, and this was probably the only time that I've ever come close to spending triple digits on a diecast, just because it's the one I never had. So yeah, this is probably the crown jewel in the collection, just because you can't find this anywhere.
Oh yeah, man. It's just wild. That's a
It's a
wild,
goofy
crazy
looking
That's,
diecast.
car,
yeah.
but yeah,
Hey,
it'll do.
It's an acid
that's
trip on wheels. That's what it is.
yeah.
Yeah, but I've had this for quite. I've never played it though because I've always been saving it for Michigan, and I think I missed the Michigan show last year, so
Uh,
I just had no other another play for it. So yeah, busted out this year.
Love it, brother. Alrighty, well, you said it. NASCAR is going to Michigan this weekend, so I thought I had to bust out Kevin Harvick's 2018 Michigan win, the Busch Light Mobile One dual sponsorship won this, and then he Keelan in the passenger seat and drove him around the track.
mm.
That was pretty damn cool. It was funny. NASCAR told him, "Don't you ever fucking do that again." And then a bunch of other drivers started doing it, and they just kind
Yeah.
of gave up on it. So, um, love that diecast. Kevin Harvick was just the fucking man at Michigan. Um, he was incredible there, and I wish he was still racing so we could see him this weekend try and capture
Mm.
another win. But it'll be fun watching all these new young generation drivers go for it.
Hell yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Well, no big stories on Monday while we're recording, so we're gonna go right into our Richmond review. And we had the Truck Series kick off the weekend, and Christian Eckes won the pole. Found a lot of speed during that break, and he won stage one as well. So good playoff point to capture. Matt Crafton just seems like he just needs to hang it up. Spins by himself while running in 15th position. He slapped the wall, brought him further back through the field. But guys, is it time for Crafton to just hang it up?
I just can't imagine he's having any fun right now. Really, ThorSport as a whole, they just kind of been falling off a little bit over the last couple of years. Yeah, Ben Rhodes is a two-time champ, but they don't really have race-winning speed in their trucks. So yeah, and it
Matt
doesn't look
Cra-
like Crafton's having any fun. So why not? He's going to go out a three-time champ, Hall of Famer anyway. So he had a good career.
Matt Crafton's just getting the Jimmy Johnson experience right now. He's not having any fun. He hasn't done even anything since winning that Fluke title back in 2019. He didn't even win a race that whole year. I don't know how he won that title to begin with, but I've I've never been a Matt Crafton fan ever since he sucker punched Nick Sanchez at Dega last year. That was pretty classless right
That's
there.
probably the start of his downfall right there when we're going up to
Yeah.
beat up kids.
Yeah. Yeah,
Fighting a
exactly.
19-year-old. Like,
Nice.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so to carry on after that, he was also involved in another wreck. There was a big wreck in turn 3 with Dean Thompson, Matt Crafton, Thad Moffitt, and others. Just the big one at Richmond. You're definitely going to see it with this truck series. That's for damn sure. Grant Enfinger wins stage 2. We know that he can get a little speedy on these short tracks here. Connor
I just
Zilish. Go ahead,
I
Matt.
just want to say how refreshing it is to see a driver like Grant Enfinger run pretty good in truck again and not seeing like the Corey Heim or Christian Eckes show repeatedly. I mean, Grant Enfinger actually came to race for what
Hmm.
felt like the first time in a while.
Yeah, and especially with that Roper racing truck too, it was pretty impressive to see what he could do with it.
Yeah.
And Connor Zilish, he was making his oval debut in NASCAR, but he spun after contact with the 32. But still, I think he had a pretty good finish. And we know that he's going to be making a full-time run with Junior Motorsports next season in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, I mean, first run on the oval for him in a truck. I don't think you're expecting him to go light the world on fire. You just want him to keep on getting experience and hopefully get a few more of these starts later on in the season, so he can really just get that on track time before he jumps in the JRM car next year.
Yeah,
It's
I think
pretty nice to see him get back into get the opportunity he deserves at Junior Motorsports. So Trackhouse, and we saw it again with what they did with Zane Smith and Spire. I mean, they like sticking these guys in places, seeing how they develop, and I think Connor Zilic. We'll see how I mean, he's in better equipment than Zane Smith is right now, obviously, but I'm excited to see him in Xfinity next year.
Yeah, I mean, the kid is so damn impressive. He was part of a winning team with the Rolex 24. He ran in the 12 hours of Sebring. It's just absolutely incredible what this kid is doing, and he's only fucking 18 years old, and he's already got a full-time deal running next year. So, just a lot of high hopes for this kid, and I hope it doesn't come crashing down. I hope the pressure just doesn't get too much for him.
Well, I just hope that they're going to expect him to go out and be good next year, but let's not go out and expect him to contend for wins every single week. Like they got to set a standard here. Like first, I think top tens are going to be the norm for the first year. Like let's just finish races, get the experience, and then we'll work towards building towards those wins. But I think he's going to be very good next year.
Yeah, totally agree.
Just sort of puts a question in your head: who's going to be the next one out at Junior Motorsports? Because you can't have 5 full-time drivers now. I mean,
Well,
I don't.
Sam Mayer, they were already saying that he's probably on his way out.
Mm,
Sam Mayer could be on his way out. Brandon Jones could be on his way out. So
I
yeah,
think anyone besides Justin Allgaier is not safe at Junior Motorsports, including Sammy Smith, who's been
Sammy Smith,
inconsistent this year.
Sammy Smith, he's staying. He's got that the Flying Pilot J
yeah.
sponsorship. He's an Iowa kid, and they love Iowa drivers. I mean, look how long they kept paying for Michael and that to be in that 5 car back in Junior Motorsports. So,
I mean, yeah, dude. As long
um,
as Dale's seeing a big check, that's why Brandon Jones is probably staying. That's why Sammy Smith's going to stay. And they don't go out and get the results, but as long as Dale's getting a paycheck, I don't think he cares.
yeah,
Hmm.
Junior Motorsports has turned into house racing. They just they now. All right, guys, and to cap off this race, Ty Majeski, my pick from the show last week, goes on and wins the short track. This guy is freaking unbelievable. Next race will be Milwaukee Mile. That's going to kick off their play. I can't wait because I'm going to be picking him once again.
Boom, confetti. But no,
Yeah,
yeah, for real. The short tracks and Ty Majeski, that they go together like bread and butters. That's just he just runs so well at all these kind of tracks. And now the truck playoff field is set,
yeah.
and now it's time to go battle.
Did Daniel Dye
I
squeeze
said it.
his
I
way
said it
in
last
there?
week. I said watch him race his way in, and then he did just that.
Michael Waltrip had to shed so many tears in the Fox broadcast
Oh,
booth on Saturday night, just seeing his baby just steal one from
he
Tanner
did it.
Gray.
Yeah. So Tanner Gray was not, was the driver that was in before this race started. He will not be competing for the 2024 playoffs. So we have our 10 drivers. Obviously, Corey Heim, Christian Eckes, these two guys have just been amazing all year long. Then Ty Majeski is our third seed driver. Then Nick Sanchez, Raja Caruth, Grant Enfinger, Tyler Ankrum, Taylor Gray, Ben Rhodes, and Daniel Dye. Those are 10 drivers that will be competing for a championship this season in the Truck Series.
Yeah, I think right now tier one is obviously your Eckes and your Heim, and then I think they kind of separate themselves from the rest just a little bit. Ty Majeski, he's good on the short tracks, but other than that, we haven't really seen him show up at these other kind of tracks. So I think Eckes is the guy to beat right now going into this, but it's the playoffs. We've seen this time and time again. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
But I think going back to Daniel Dye for just a second, I think I read somewhere that this is the first time in series history since the playoffs started that somebody started the cutoff race outside and got in for like the first time in series history.
Wow.
So
Pretty
that's some
impressive.
impressive little stat there for Daniel Dye, just to see how far he's come from a season ago. What a real ball buster that is.
Yeah.
Don't count out guys like
It took me a second, God damn
I was hoping you were going to catch it.
it. Oh man. But yeah,
don't count out Sanchez or Raja though. Do not count out those guys. They can make some moves
They
later
can
on.
make some moves. I just haven't seen it. I mean, really, it's every week we're either talking about a Heimer and Eckes. So this is their time to go do it. But I just don't see how anybody's beating those two trucks right now outside of maybe a Majeski. Because he's like the only other regular that can go out there and win.
yeah.
This week we
Those two.
did see a little bit of a
Caruth.
dip from Corey Heim, though. I mean, he led a few laps, but it was based on pit strategy. I think he finished like 16th at Richmond,
That's what I'm
which was
saying. Eckes is
Yeah.
the guy right now, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah, I would think so too.
Yeah. And Caruth, I can definitely very consistent drivers. They're not gonna. They found victory lane early this year, and that was about it. But they've been running pretty well to stay in the middle of these of this playoff standings here, fourth and fifth for the both of them. So pretty respectful, and should be interesting with all these young guns going for it. All right, guys, let's move on to the Cup Series race, the Cookout 400 at Richmond Raceway. We had Denny Hamlin starting on the pole. He loves Richmond. It's his favorite home track that he's got. And we had the introduction time and option tires, which I think absolutely saved this race. We had some great racing going on here. Just a lot of side by side act. Just what you would not expect to see when you tune into Richmond.
Yeah, you love to see it. It's just a lot of comers and goers in this. I think Suarez was the first one to go with those option tires, and look at what that did for him. He absolutely flew through the field. But yeah, this is not what I was expecting for a Richmond race. I said it last week that out of all the races, all of the racetracks that we can come back to come back from our break, it has to be Richmond. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was, but yeah, these tires, big success. It just made for a great strategy race, and it was entertaining from start to finish.
You mentioned Suarez, Nick. This is another little fun stat here. This is the first top 10 that mi amigo Daniel Suarez has posted on a short track since 2019.
Wow.
That's
Damn.
yeah, those option tires, they made him look like Superman
Well,
yesterday.
dude, even to the normal prime tires, he was running up there.
Yeah.
They found so much speed after they put those tires on. They made some adjustments, and he just looked so good out there. So the
Yeah.
Trackhouse gave him a really good ride this weekend.
Yeah. And Ross was actually looking like his old self a little bit too yesterday. So we can say Trackhouse for like the first time when it feels like a long time showed up this weekend.
Yeah, took them a while. But we had Christopher Bell, who was without his crew chief Adam Stevens. Bell wins stage one. And we're talking about the option tires. This is when everyone started going for it. Suarez was the first one to do it. Saw him fly through the field. Fortunately, Martin Truex's team, they had trouble getting that right rear onto the car, and he started going, stuck on the car. They did not tether it right. They had to stop it and put it back on there. So just more bad luck for Martin Truex as he's trying to finish out his final season. But
He's so miserable.
Yeah.
I just want. I need to start listening to his in car audio every single week because I just can't imagine he's having any ounce of fun right now.
he's just crying. I'm
Didn't have
sorry,
any fun.
guys.
Didn't have any fun in stage 2 with Chase Elliott getting in his way for that final stage point.
Yeah, we had your boy Daniel Suarez winning stage two, and then Truex and Chase Elliott were going for it for that last, the 10th place position for the stage two finish, and they were bumping and banging, and Truex was just not happy with them, gave him a little bump, and but that's just Truex. He just doesn't like to get raced hard. He's gonna tell you like I'm gonna get you back, but he's not gonna do anything.
Saw this at
It was
Richmond back in the spring.
Yep.
it was about to get even worse for him coming up in this next stage.
Yeah, it is. But guys, crazy. Kyle Busch, we know he sprained his wrist at Indy a few weeks ago when he was involved in his wreck. And so he had the little wrist on. He said it was getting a little too tight. So the team gave him a pair of scissors. And during the caution, he was just riding around the track and just cutting it to just make it a little bit looser. I have never seen anything like that before. They said on the broadcast, like, yeah, I've been told not to run with scissors, but this is a whole new level.
That was crazy to see. But he just wasn't comfortable with it, so he said, "I am not going to go the distance." Being annoyed like this, cut him off. Why not?
I guess that would be today's equivalent of Dale Earnhardt
I was just about
washing his
to.
windshield.
Man.
All right, and yeah, we were saying the bad luck is coming for Martin Truex, and it did. We saw that he started slowing down on the track, went down pit road, team lifted up the hood, and the engine was smoking. It was done.
Dude, what the hell's going on with Toyota? With
Ah,
these engines? We've
it's
seen
so
a
much.
lot of problems for Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota with some of these failures. Ty Gibbs has had a bunch. Truex, Denny, like what is going on here? Like you would not expect us from a top caliber team like Joe Gibbs Racing to have this many failures. I hope they get it out of the way before the playoff time, but what the hell is going on?
Third week in a row this has happened. I mean, you had Ty Gibbs blow up twice. He blew up at Pocono, and then his engine was fading at Indy, and then now we see MTJ have an issue here at Richmond. So it's not good, and especially not good for him because he came in 100 points over to the good in the playoffs, and he was like 78. So he's getting closer to that playoff cut line with just 3 races left.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's only 78 to the good right now, and it's so funny. Austin Dillon. Well, everybody's seen the race now. Austin Dillon won this race, and
Yeah,
Truex is still ahead of him in the playoff standings.
Dude,
that's
just look at Ty Gibbs. A couple of weeks ago, Ty Gibbs was sitting pretty, and now
Hmm.
with the failures, and now with this insane new winner, he's only what seven? How many
he's
to the
only
good is he?
15 to the
No,
good.
he's 18 to the good.
Oh, okay.
18 of the good. Where a few weeks ago that he was probably triple that. So
Yeah.
Hmm. And then
buckle up.
Bubba Wallace, he's 3 points to the good right now in 16th. Chris Buescher, 17th, and then Ross Chastain, he's also -3 with Chris Buescher, so they're tied right there.
But
We're not even done talking about this race, but this playoff run for the finish here for the regular season standings is going to be
Three to go.
absolutely
yeah,
unbelievable.
Well, it's three to go and three entirely different tracks. We go to the
yeah.
2 miler at Michigan, then we go to Chaos City and Daytona in 2 weeks, and then we go to Darlington. Like three different tracks, nothing similar to one another,
Yeah.
and it's It'd be nuts.
Busher right now has that slight advantage because I looked it up too. He has just one more playoff point than
Okay.
Ross Chastain does. He has two. Chastain only has one. That's because of the stage wins, I believe. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah, to
just
me,
it.
Ross
It's
has
what it
just
is.
been on the decline all season
Yeah.
long. He's just continuing to just fall, and he's
Yeah.
just not getting the runs that they need. They don't have the speed that they've had in years past, and it's disappointing to see, especially with this being the first year with Bush coming over, and they got nothing to show for it really. Like there has not really been one time where you're like, Ross Chastain can go out and win this race. You didn't see that. He won
No.
twice last year. That speed is gone. So
Yeah.
he's the one to me. That's going to be the one. Unless he goes out and wins Daytona, he ain't making the playoffs.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally agree there.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about bad luck with Joe Gibbs Racing. Christopher Bell's hopes were taken away in this race after a speeding penalty. He was running up front, having such a great race, and just sent to the back under green flag, which is just a killer. You don't want that to happen.
You talk about a team that can't find any luck. This is a 20 team. They are also declining right now. We know how good
Yeah.
Christopher Bell is in these playoffs, but this summer months have not been kind to him. So you hope again that he can kind of put the rebound on here because we know how explosive he can be come playoff time.
And he's
Yeah.
had like really good cars throughout the summer. I mean, Nashville dominated there, crashed out. Chicagoland had another good, or not Chicagoland, Streets of Chicago had another good car, came up short there. Gateway was dominant and had motor issues late. I mean, he's just been like wrong place at the wrong time, and he could have maybe at least three more wins that.
But yeah, he had New Hampshire. New Hampshire before we decided we're gonna do the rain tires, which is still really cool. But that in years past, that's a Christopher Bell win right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
doubt. Well, before we get into the controversy, how about the speed in that three car for Austin Dillon? What the hell did they bring for this
This
guy
is
this weekend?
this is a sneaky good racetrack for him. I remember the
Yeah.
year he made the playoffs last. What was it? 20. What were that was 2022 where he won at Daytona
Hmm.
when everybody crashed in front of him. But that first round of the playoffs, I think he ran second in this race, if I'm not mistaken. He
Yeah.
ran somewhere way up towards the front, but there's just something about this track that's good for him. Nobody expected this because every other week they show up to the racetrack. I mean, that dude was fucking 32nd in points. He was not fast all year long. And then they just pulled it out of their ass for some reason for this race.
Passes some
Maybe he just
practice on
really likes the
Saturday.
track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he just really likes the track. Yeah, that's just the thing. It's like this wasn't a it wasn't a fluke. He was gonna win this race if that caution didn't come out with 2 laps to go anyway. But he had speed all weekend.
Ian, I remember at this time last night, you, me, Pat, and Kelly were just sitting there. We were just cheering when that
Yeah.
three car was getting by Denny Hamlin. Sorry, Nick, but
Whoa,
I
whoa.
mean, yeah,
I
Well,
was
and
not cheering for that, but once he got the lead, even I was excited. I was like,
yeah,
he is about to blow this playoff field up."
yeah, I was
yeah,
And
like,
then,
I want chaos. Like, this is gonna be
yeah.
awesome. But no, the amazing, stellar finish for Austin Dillon was taken away by our good old wrecking buddy Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Just running out of talent,
like,
wrecking the
what,
41 with two to
what
go.
was the point of that? Like, seriously, what was the point of that? There's 2 laps to go in this race. They're battling for God knows what 20 something place that they were battling for, and he just decided he was going to punt the 41.
He's
Kyle Busch looking
just a
smart, calling him
dumbass.
Ricky Spenhouse Jr. right now.
Yeah.
Just, like, what
Oh.
was the point of that?
I he KO'd himself too.
Yeah, he did. He wrecked his shit. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
worse off than Ryan Priest.
Pulled,
Priest was able
pulled
to
the
take
Danica.
off.
yeah.
Pulled the
Yeah,
Danica.
I wonder where he got that from.
Mm.
Oh,
Uh,
Ricky. But then here comes our overtime drama. Joey Logano takes the lead in this overtime restart, and with one to go, they're going down the backstretch. 4-5 car lengths separate the 22 and the 3. Joey Logano had this one in the bag. He was going to get another win this year. Totally fine with that. Here comes Austin Dillon just sending it into turn 3 of no hopes of actually making this turn. If he didn't touch 22, he just would have went straight into the wall. Just punts the 22. Joey wrecks. And here comes Denny thinking that he's going to take this one
Let's
away.
steal it.
And from what I saw, everyone's like, oh, Denny came up on him. Yeah, Denny came up on him because that is the racing line. If he
Look at
was
the
going to stay
SMT
where he
data.
was,
Yes.
yeah, if he's going to stay where he was, he's
Thank
going
you.
to end up on the curb. He has nowhere to go. They both just kind of slightly went like that. Austin Dillon knew what he was doing, turned him, and Denny Hamlin went into the wall, wrecked, and Austin Dillon got away with fucking murder. We'll see if
It's,
there's any penalty report on Wednesday. I fucking hope there is
it's
because
just
we've seen
so.
drivers get suspended for way less.
There's just so much wrong with all of this. Literally 10 minutes before that, we're all cheering for Austin Dillon, and now it's fuck Austin Dillon. There's so much wrong with this. Like you said, Ian, he had no chance of making that corner. And then what he did to Denny, like look at the SMT data. You can see how hard he turned that steering wheel to the left. I mean, hell, his spotter even said, "Hey, he's down there wrecking."
Wreck 'em.
Like
Yeah.
penalties need to happen. Will they take this one away from him? I don't know. That would be they put themselves in a tough situation. But I think that everything that we've seen from that wreck warrants total disqualification, in my opinion. Like that was an embarrassment right there, is what that was. He's gonna go out there and then he's gonna go out. He goes out there, does what he does, and then he says his little interview and he's like, "Oh, thank you God, all this, all of that. I had to do what I had to do." That's a bunch of bullshit. Like that was a chicken shit move. And this is why nobody takes our sports seriously. The only time that NASCAR winds up on ESPN is for stupid shit like this. And
This was
yeah.
God when
Yeah.
Austin Dillon said, "Thank you, God."
yeah, that's
God
literally
damn it.
that's
Yeah.
literally what it was.
Yeah.
And it's so embarrassing. But the officials, they know that they can get away with it because nobody does anything about it. Like
So-
the suspension. They could suspend him all they want. I just don't think they're going to take. I don't think they're going to have the balls to take the win away from him. But they should because he does
Yeah.
not deserve to win that race.
I don't think they
That
will.
was just a
I don't think
total.
they'll take
total
They should.
They won't take it away. They can suspend him all they want, and they can take his playoff points away. He'll go into the playoffs with 0 playoff points, and he's going to be a first round exit anyway. But that was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen, and just for him, and even for Richard Childress to defend is like, oh well, you had to do what he had to do. That's fucking bullshit. Your
Fuck
organization
Richard
sucks
Childress.
ass right now,
Well,
and
Yeah.
I'm so infuriated with this.
me and Matt
so-
were talking before the show started, and we were saying, like, what if they could do something like an encumbered win like they used to do? Like, sure, he can keep the race win, but just take away all the points, all the
Yes.
money, everything that he earned in this race, and all he
Yes.
gets is a little trophy and a checkered flag.
Yeah,
That's it.
he
Yeah,
won,
that's-
but at what cost? That's
Joey
exactly.
Logano. Joey Logano missed the playoffs from an encumbered win at Richmond. They
Yep.
gave him the trophy, but he missed the playoffs because of that encumbered win.
Hey, man,
So-
Kevin Harvick was known for that shit. Let's go.
So can I just go on a little bit of a rant here because I already ranted on my previous podcast, and I just want to say for any RCR loving Dale Earnhardt fan out there who wonders why I have a problem with Richard Childress Racing and the way they do things, this is fucking why right here. Because you have a Silver Spoon kid running and 32nd in points into this race who admittedly should have had a shot at winning this race, doing something as stupid as he did like that, using his car as a literal weapon and not only punting a guy into the outside wall, but then coming down the track when Denny Hamlin has the win in hands. It's like, nah, fuck you. I'm just going to send you around the wall. Like, what the? I knew the restart was going to get fucked when Rick Allen and Jeff Burns said right before the restart, Austin Dillon comes into this race ranked 35th in restarts. 35th. And I knew shit was going to go down on that restart because of that. He lost the race when he lost the lead on the restart to Joey Logano. And then to do that, sit up there, say, praise God, I thank you, Lord. I had to do what I had to do. Yeah, fuck you. You could have just, And I like what Joey Logano said with like, I would understood a bump and run, but just to blatantly run into me and just miss the corner and punt me going into turn 3, get the fuck out of here. And what I really took issue with was Richard Childress handling this to the media. There is actual spotter radio, like you said, of Austin Dillon spotter saying, wreck him, wreck him, wreck him, wreck him, wreck him, when Denny was on the inside of him. And when asked about that, Richard Childress played stupid, like the stupid idiot he is, and said, I have no idea what you're talking about. I didn't hear any of that. Shut the fuck up. You had a radio. You had a radio on in the pit box the entire time. Don't give me that shit. And
Matt
then
Weaver was even showing him video of it.
Yes.
And Richard was just like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Richard totally gaslighting him.
Richard Childress said, well, I applaud him because he won us the race because of that. And I want to just say this to Richard Childress. I already said it to him on my show, but I want to make sure he gets the message. If for some unknown reason he stumbles upon this podcast, Richard Childress, let me make this very clear to you, my friend. If it was not for you riding off the success of Dale Earnhardt for about 15, 20 years, and then following that up with Kevin Harvick for another decade, you would not have the reputation or success as an owner in NASCAR. You'd be working at a fucking McDonald's your whole life. You wouldn't have enough money to pay your goddamn grandson to be driving the 3-car, wrecking into people on the last lap twice in a 2-for-1 special. I hope you know that, sir. You're somewhere out there watching this. Consider yourself very lucky that you were riding off the coattails of one of the greats in this sport for years. What have you done since Kevin Harvick left this team in 2013? What have you done? You have hired bust after bust after bust after bust, and you still feel obliged to keep Austin Dillon in that 3-car, a man who hasn't done jack or shit since his rookie season. Ever since he won the pole in the Daytona 500, all his wins, fluke win, fuel mileage. Oh, I bumped in the back of Eric Almirola. Sorry. Hey, God. Hey, the good Lord showed me the way. Won fuel mileage at Texas. Survived the big one at Daytona. And then does a 2-for-1 special last night. Get the fuck out of here, Austin Dillon. They need to either suspend him. They need to encumber his win. They need to fine him. They need to take away playoff points. I get there hasn't been a precedent set for this, but NASCAR needs to make an example of him. He crossed the line last night.
Wow. I think the Justin Haley rant is now going to drop to number 2 there.
Yeah, I was going to say,
that was
holy
something.
Fuck, dude, take a breath.
Like, holy shit. That was crazy. But you're right. It's just the officials have just never done anything about it. And until they do, this is just going to continue to happen. But this happened because of how fraudulent this playoff system is. This whole winning you're in bullshit. Austin Dillon was 32nd in points. He has no business competing in the playoffs, but because he did that, he knew that was his one shot to get into the playoffs, and that is why he did what he did. He said, I'm going to bulldoze the hell out of these 2 guys because I have to get in. This is my only shot to get in. And now he's in. And he has no business being there. He'll be an easy first-round exit. It just goes back to the system. It goes back to the system and how fraudulent it is. It's one of the most pathetic playoff systems in all of professional sports. And because of it, this is why we get bullshit like this. And it was a great race up until that bullshit ending. And it's disappointing to see. And yeah, Austin Dillon's going to celebrate this as if he just won a goddamn championship because Chris Gabehart said it best. He's like, every 3 or 4 years, they show up for one race like this, but the rest of the races, they just suck. They flat out suck, and they do. So they're 32nd in points.
Yeah,
he pulled one out of his ass because it's been about 2 or 3 years since his last win. It's just they got to fix this system because this winning you're in bullshit has to end. Otherwise, who's to say we're not going to go to Michigan next week, get an overtime restart, and someone's just going to fucking send it because they know they're going to get away with it. This is why they have to do something about it this week. They need to – I don't think they're going to take the win away, but they need to strip them They need to fine him. They need to suspend him. They need to strip him of the points. He still should not be allowed to compete in this playoff. And I will die on that hill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally agree. We gotta set some kind of precedent for this because
yeah,
it's just gonna keep fucking happening and happening and
yeah,
yeah,
and
and once again, it is just the product of the winning you're in.
yeah,
This is what they
exactly.
wanted.
The
This is what they
only
wanted, and until they fix it, it's just going to keep happening. I don't know why. If they don't do anything to Austin Dillon this week, I don't know why anybody for the rest of the season isn't just going to go out there and intentionally wreck somebody for the win going forward. Because
I
why
would.
they're not going to do anything about it.
the only defense that Austin Dillon and Richard Childress said that I can somewhat agree upon is when they said to the media, what else are we supposed to do? We're 32nd in points. What else are we supposed to do? And I don't put that on them. That is what you said, a fault of the playoff system with NASCAR. This is what NASCAR wants. This is what they want to create. And this is their product. So now they got to deal with it. And like I said, there's been so many NASCAR people out there, like Eric Esta, Black Flags Matter, who have said, well, I don't think you should have the win taken away because they've never set a precedent for this before. They need to set a precedent
Now's the time.
now. Now is the
Now's the time
time.
to do it.
Now is the time because what we saw last night, I think maybe rank highest all time in dirtiest driving that I've ever seen.
There's
Oh,
just no
yeah.
respect. No respect anymore. And that's
No.
why this is why this series gets flamed all the time for being a joke of a sport, is because these guys just drive with no respect because they don't give a fuck. This is not racing. That was not racing hard for a win. That was
No.
just chicken shit bullshit, and they got to do something.
Yeah.
And-
And I'm so sick of people comparing this to Dale Earnhardt. Dale
Oh.
Earnhardt was not that desperate. Dale Earnhardt was not that fucking stupid. And Dale Earnhardt was never 32nd in
Yeah.
points ever in his entire fucking career. So let's stop calling Austin Dillon the next Dale Earnhardt.
You know what I didn't like the most was you compare that to Dale Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt got booed the shit out of when he was
They
in
hated
victory
him.
lane at Bristol. They hated him. But last night, Joey Logano got booed the shit out of when he gave his opinion.
Of course.
I've had my gripes with Joey Logano. I've disagreed with him on a lot of things, but in this scenario, he's absolutely right. Like that.
Well, the fucked up thing is he's going to get the harsher penalty for what he did on pit road
Yes.
for speeding off on the NASCAR
Yes.
official. Him and Denny Hamlin are going to get in more trouble for their words and their actions on pit road than Austin Dillon is for using his car as a literal weapon.
Yeah,
And
Joey
that's-
Logano
yeah.
literally almost hit Austin Dillon's wife and kids on pit road. I don't know if you saw the in-car camera, but it was so damn close.
I will say,
I
Austin
will
Dillon-
I will hope that there will be a fine for
Oh,
Joey
there will
Logano.
be.
Come
He'll
on.
get
I'm sure
penalized.
there will be. Yeah.
Austin
that part
Dillon
was
won't, but I will
inexcusable.
say Austin Dillon is a genius because he held that kid close to him all night because they're like, they're not going to punch me. I got a baby in my hand.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, put the baby down. Let him hit you.
That's the only way Denny and Joey wouldn't tag team up. Who would have thought that we'd be seeing Joey and Denny on the same side of things for like ever?
all it takes is a silver spoon fed.
That was like the
piece
first
of
time,
shit driver.
the first time that I've ever liked anything that has come out of Joey Logano's mouth. But yeah, he's done some shit like this before, but that was just
not that
egregious.
egregious.
Yeah, not that egregious.
Not that crazy.
Yeah,
No.
Joey
I'm just
Logano
excited to
has
see-
done bump and runs. He's taken people out, but he has never gone 5 car lengths across to take someone out of a race and then just sideswipe another fucking
That was like
driver.
me driving in NASCAR Heat 5 when I'm desperate for a win. I can't make a corner, so I'm just going to flat out like, God. But here's the thing is, like, do they even need to get retaliation? They're going to smoke them on the track for the rest of the season. You think Austin Dillon's going to show up to the racetrack now with speed every week? No. He's going to go back to being where he was running when he was 32nd in points, running mid-20s every single week. Do they even need to get retaliation? That guy sucks.
They're just going to laugh at him every time he
Yeah.
finishes fucking 25th every week.
Yeah. It's a waste of a playoff spot. I mean, whoopity fucking do, Austin. You qualified for the playoffs. Enjoy being swept in the round of 16 by everyone else.
He's gonna curse
Now we
us.
have
He's gonna
two
curse us.
shitheads.
He's gonna curse us, and he's gonna make like a round of 8 berth or something like that.
Oh,
all of us.
God.
Well, now we have 2 shitheads named Austin that fucking bullshitted their way into the playoffs.
Yeah. It's just it sucks because Austin Dillon had a great car all weekend, and I would have been happy for him had that caution not come out with two
Me
to
too.
go
Yeah.
because he had a race car. He was fast all weekend long. He was probably the best car all weekend long. And then he had to go out and do it that way. It's not how you're supposed to take these wins, man. Like,
No.
yeah, do what you got to do, but that ain't it because that was some childish chicken shit right there. And
Yeah.
I said yesterday, I was just like, "Oh, this shit looks easy. Let me just go hop in a race car and intentionally wreck everybody. I'll see you guys in the playoffs because apparently you can do that
Dude,
now."
fucking iRacing tweeted like the video of what happened. They're like, this will get you suspended in iRacing. Don't
Yeah.
do this.
You
Even
know,
a fucking video game platform is saying, do not do this.
you know, I
They
was
will suspend you.
You know, I was texting my buddy today who's a big F1 fan. Him and I used to work together at Autobahn.
Oh, he's just
And
laughing in F1 right now.
oh yeah, if that were at Autobahn Country Club, nice facility out in Joliet, great car club. If that were at Autobahn, that guy would not even make it to the podium. Like the race
He'd be in
control operators,
handcuffs.
oh yeah, they would say take your shit and get the fuck out of here. You're done. That would
Mm.
not happen. But Denny hit it right on the head because we have a lack of enforcing the rules in NASCAR. You see shit like this happening and that they feel obliged to do it because Richard Childress and Austin Dillon feel like, well, we're not going to face any penalties. NASCAR's not going to do that. There's no way he does not make it out of this with at least a points penalty or a fine. There's no
All
way
I
in
have
hell.
to say is that if the roles were reversed, say this was Denny Hamlin or Joey Logano doing this to a Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott, all the
Oh,
people who were applauding Austin Dillon yesterday would be calling for Denny and Joey's heads for doing that.
Yeah.
yep.
Yep. No
No,
doubt.
no doubt about that. But
No
because he's
doubt.
driving the three, because it's Richard's boy, they are
How
cheering.
who would have thought though that Austin Dillon goes to victory lane before Kyle Busch does?
That's honestly why I was kind of rooting for Austin Dillon yesterday. I was like, man, I just want to see Dillon win like before fucking Kyle this year. That'd be so great.
The misery continues for Kyle.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man.
I don't know. He was pretty happy yesterday seeing he ran up to Dylan's car, but still, I
Well,
mean, it's
yeah, he's
like
got to act like a team
he's got to
player,
act
dude.
like
He's
a
like
team player.
127 points out of the playoffs right now. He's in a
Yeah.
must-win going into these next three. He is miserable right now.
Yeah.
Dude,
He's
I don't want to live in a world where Austin Dillon's in the playoffs, but Kyle Busch isn't.
oh, okay. That may end up happening because NASCAR just found their new golden boy. You
Yep.
know, you know what's scary, honestly, out of all of this is the words that Kevin Harvick said when he and Ty Dillon got into it in Martinsville years ago. Still reign true. He's like, that's exactly the reason why I'm leaving RCR because you got the kids coming up there and had everything fed to them with a spoon. And that's exactly what Austin Dillon has done. He's been nothing but the silver spoon fed driver for years, ever since he's taken over that 3 car. And sadly, that's never going to change. And
Yeah,
until Ellen Sawyer and Steve O'Donnell put their foot down and either suspend him or take away his playoff berth, he's never going to look himself in the mirror and make the change.
Yep. Well said.
any rumor of him stepping away to go into an executive role at RCR gone now. Now that he's won, he's feeling confident again. He ain't getting out of that. They're going to have to drag him out of that. But yeah,
Yay,
at the
3
end of the
more
day, it just
years
sucks.
of running 25th.
It just sucks for the sport because again, this was a fascinating race up until that point. But this is the only way that NASCAR makes it onto like a channel like ESPN is when
Yeah.
stupid shit like this happens. On either that or some vicious wreck. We don't. This sport's just not going to get the respect that it deserves until we start policing this more. And NASCAR has to make the decision. Like they got to grow
Yeah.
a pair of balls here and take that win away.
Yeah.
And if they don't do that, then this will just continue to happen every week, and we're going to continue to be the laughing stock of sport here in America.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
Exactly.
I will
Mhm.
say I voted yes on Jeff Gluck's poll today.
Yeah, it was a good
I
race.
thought that was a fantastic race up until
It
Yeah.
was a good race. It just
Yeah.
sucks to see that that all got taken away when he he pulls a dumbass move like that, because that's all anybody's gonna be talking about now is that move that he made right there.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Well,
Well,
he'll show up. He'll show up and run 29th at Michigan this week.
Yep. That's for damn sure. Well, all right, guys. I think that is a good spot to end our show here. Matt, thanks again for coming on the show and giving us the rant of the fucking year, man. Like Nick said, I think that's gonna
That
overshadow.
trumps it.
Yeah, that trumps the Justin Haley rant right there. So
sorry, Nick. I took your I took your
Oh, that's good. I don't want that. I don't want that on me anymore.
Do you think he wants to be known for that? That's been
I
5 years he's been having to deal with that.
hey, your record was good for 5 years, but like they say, records are meant to be broken.
Dude,
Now
he didn't even take a breath, man. You didn't even pause to take a breath.
Dude, you
No,
were starting to get red. I thought, man, he's going to explode here in a second.
You remember
like
that guy on the White Sox radio, Berto, who ranted on Chicago radio last year? I was channeling my inner Berto for like a couple minutes there because I'm sorry that again, and the sad thing is, I wanted Austin Dillon to win until he did that shit. Like we've never seen a 2-for-1 special on the last lap before. Never.
Like that was an Arkham move right there. That was
no doubt. No
right
doubt.
Dude, that was a Bowman Gray Stadium move right there. That's what that one. He's getting ready for the fucking Clash next year.
And these are supposed to be the best drivers in the world, and he's pulling boneheaded shit like that just because he's running 32nd in points. Feels sorry for himself. Joke. God, what a joke, man.
That's embarrassing.
I cannot wait for him to run 30th at Michigan. I really cannot.
Oh,
yep. It's gonna be a fun time.
Jeez, I feel more left out that you guys are going, and Austin Dillon just created this whole storyline. So thanks, Austin. Yeah. Made me feel so much better about not going this weekend.
Well, Matt, thanks for coming on, buddy. We'll definitely have you on again soon. And guys, if you haven't yet, make sure to like our video, subscribe to our channel, and check out all of our links down below. So for the Stock Car Spectacle, I'm Ian Jortson.
I'm Nick Kinzel.
Matt Lauterbach here, and we'll see y'all later.
See you guys next time. And we'll be back Wednesday for our Michigan picks, so stay tuned.